Like I was telling you earlier, my husband and I were talking the other day, and he's like, you're smiling, you're laughing, you're sleeping at night, we're joking. I have more energy to like run around with my son, and just my perspective is just different.
We're officially on.
Awesome.
So this is Kim. Kim's one of our strong moms. You're what, 6 weeks? 8 weeks?
I'm in the middle of 7 weeks.
7 weeks. 6, 8, right in 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited for you to share your story. As we were just talking about before I press record, there's just so much out there that there's just a lot of information and a lot of who knows what's going on the internet.
Yeah.
So I just wanted you to share your story. First of all, before you joined Strong Mom, where were you?
So before I started Strong Mom, I was in a really negative place. I have had kind of a bad self-image for a really long time. One of the things that we did in this program is to kind of reflect, right, and find out like where you're at and why and things like that. And so during all of those things, I discovered that really kind of the root of my kind of disbelief in myself really stemmed back to an ex that I had. And he was very manipulative and very narcissistic, and did a number on me as far as like, I was never good enough. I wasn't good enough at this. I wasn't, I couldn't do this right. I couldn't cook good. Like all of these things, and I was with him for a total of 6 years. And it's true when like, if you hear something enough, you kind of start to believe it. And so I got this thing in my head of like, well, I'm just not good enough. Like I'm not, until one day where I was like, okay, I've had enough. Like I don't like being this way. I was angry. I was negative and, and all that other stuff. And so I was able to separate myself from that situation, but still it's, and that was 2000s, so here we are 20 years later, and I still struggle with it. It's still kind of there, it's still in the background. Every once in a while it gets me. And I think for me, when I'm in a situation where I'm not happy, like that's when I get the hardest on myself. And, and I just don't like anything about myself. I don't like how I look. I don't like how I feel. I don't like how, and then I become really hard to be around. And so one day I was like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of feeling this way about myself because I am good enough. I am, I do have, I am good enough, so I need to take care of myself, and I have a 4-year-old son, and he's the best thing in my life. I think he's the best thing I've ever done. And I've done a lot of really cool things, but he's the best thing I've ever done. And I was just looking at how I was in my mind, where I was just negative and I was exhausted all the time. And I was snapping at him and I was snapping at my husband. And I didn't have enough energy to like play with him at the end of the day. And I just felt like I'm not giving him the best mom he could have because I'm just done. Like I'm spent, like I have nothing left, and I just wanted it to be different. And I have never been one of those quick fix people. It's just never been my style. I've always been like hard work, and I got to do this. And even if it takes me 4 years, I'm going to do this, and I just kind of was scrolling through Facebook one day and came across your 5-day challenge and looked into the program, or looked into that and looked into like what it was all about. And it just really spoke to me because it was not just it wasn't a quick fix. It wasn't just a diet, because I don't feel like I need to diet, because I'm not like overweight. I'm not, I ran a marathon a year ago, so I'm fit, but I wanted to be more fit. I wanted to be healthy and more fit so that I had energy and strength and all of these things, and so then the more I looked into the program, I was like, this is this is what I need, because not only is it the workouts to help me be strong and fit, but it's also nutrition, which I have always been like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. Eat healthy, great. What's that mean? But then also on top of it is just that kind of reset of your perspective, basically. So
No, it's funny you say that, because when you were talking, it's the classic. We want to give our families the best of us, but not what's left of us. And that's what I say all the time, because it's easy to give and then have nothing left and then feel guilty because you have nothing left. And that's a real cycle. Um, and then, okay, so you're 7 weeks in, and how are you feeling now?
good. I feel good. Nutrition is still one of those things that I'm like, oh, I could do better. I could do better, but I feel like even when I maybe don't have like all of the parts of that meal, like I'm still making like if I was I didn't take my lunch that day at work and I had to go somewhere, then I was like, okay, where can I go where I could get healthy things? And so I'm still kind of making healthier choices with the things that I was getting. But so nutrition is still one of those things that I'm working on. But overall, like I am feeling stronger, and I've already noticed like a actual like a difference in my appearance. But then also on top of it, like I like I was telling you earlier, my husband and I were talking the other day, and he's like, you're smiling, you're laughing, you're sleeping at night, we're joking. I have more energy to like run around with my son, and just my perspective is just different.
I know, it's just so interesting because like we were chatting about too, right before I pressed record, and this is what we hear all the time. So many people are willing to, as you can hear, I keep muting myself because there's a landscaping company in our neighbor's yard that's like right, may as well be our yard. But it's like, yes, of course I will, invest in making sure my lawn, lawn looks great. I will invest. I'll go shopping and buy clothes. I'll go to Starbucks and buy $8 drinks that are 400 calories, but great. Yet when it comes to investing in yourself, literally, and I guess because I'm someone who constantly invests in myself, and I know that everything I do in life stems on how I feel about myself, and physically, mentally, emotionally. But it's really hard. People have a hard time getting over that hump, because when it comes to them, they're like, oh, I can't, I can't put any investment of time, energy, finances, all of it into themselves. So I'm just curious, because I actually don't know this answer at all. What made you feel like that you were ready to invest? And when I say that, I'm talking all of it, like knowing there would be time, because we're not a quick fix. We're not going to be that magic pill that you take it and wake up a month later losing 50 pounds. Like, what made you realize that you were worth the time to put into yourself, the investment financially, the energy that was going to come along with this program?
Yeah, I think it was I was looking at where I was, and I was looking at like, if I didn't do anything different, right? Like if I didn't change anything, where am I going to be? And I just had this feeling of like, if I don't make a difference, if I don't invest in myself and do something to get myself out of this funk that I'm in, I'm going to end up divorced. I'm going to end up, not necessarily alone, because being alone is not, I don't know, I'm not one of those people where I'm like, oh, I have to have somebody or whatever. But like, I had a vision of like, we're going to get divorced, where I'm going to be miserable. My son's life is going to be miserable because, he's going to feed off of me. And, and I just felt like if I don't do anything, it's just not going to be good. It's not going to be healthy, and it's not going to be good. And so, and I knew like, sure, I could, buy him all these like great toys, and we can go on all these trips, and we can do all these things. But if I wasn't there, like happy and there and present, then they would still be not good. They would still end up being negative, And so I felt like, that I needed to like fix me so that I could be like your phrase, give them the best of you, not what's left of you. That constantly goes through my head. I was telling Jenna that the other day, where that's something that I hear in my head all the time of like, this is what I want to do. I want to give the best of me. And before I started the program, that was not the best of me. That was not the best version of me. And it wasn't going to be something where it was going to be a quick fix. I had to do something that I needed to put time in myself, and it wasn't, I didn't want to just go out and, buy a bunch of clothes and do all these things, because I felt like those were just materialistic things. I needed to do something that like could help me feel better and be better.
Yeah, it's funny because when I think of, it's so easy to just say, oh, we're going to go on this cool trip. That's an external event. Oh, here's this cool toy. That's an external event.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you ask kids and, when you talk to psychologists, what kids need and want is for them to know that their parents are there.
Yeah.
And, like when they say, and this has been, through studies, but my parents showed up for me, and it has nothing to do with the toys, but yet we're willing to do that and kind of put the Band-Aid on it. Or the trip, that is crazy, investment wise, yet that seems like a great idea. And still it's a Band-Aid. Makes you feel better for a time, but that eventually goes away, and that's like one thing that a lot of the moms that we work with are more present with their families, which is, Dave and I, we mentioned that by the time your kids are out, like when they're out of the house, 0 to 18, like you've spent so much time, you've spent 90% of your time with them, because then they're not living with you. And if you think about that, when they turn 18, you've already spent the majority of your time that you're going to be actually together with them. Making it the most, in my mind, is just, it's a no-brainer. So we're trying to help some moms through and understand it's not selfish. It's not about them away from their family. It's actually about them within their family. So that's so interesting, because I've heard a little bit of your story through Jenna. But speaking of Jenna, because actually a woman just emailed me, DM messaged me and said, I don't know how you're going to help me. You seem really busy. And I'm like, that's true. I am very busy. Yeah. And so we have a team, and we've always had a team, and I'm just curious. And again, I'm partially doing this because I love hearing about Jenna, but do you feel supported within Strong Mom? Do you feel like a number, or how do you feel?
Yeah, no, I don't feel like a number. And that was one of the things, I had, when I first kind of started this by doing your 5-day, like kind of detox challenge, and towards the end of that 5 days, Anna actually reached out to me, and I had a phone call with her. I actually got on the phone and was talking with her, and when she was explaining the program and things like that. And I asked her, I said, so how does this work? Because you guys are in Ohio and I'm in California. And, usually when you think of like, a trainer and things like that, like you envision like, I'm going to go into a gym and I'm going to work with a trainer and they're going to be standing right next to me and, all this other stuff. But like, obviously that can't happen with the, many miles in between us. And so she said, yeah, like this is kind of how this works, where, we'll do video calls, we'll do phone calls, we'll, kind of basically she's like, you have access to me all the time. You can send text messages, you can do whatever. And I remember in that conversation, I asked her, I said, well, so would you be my trainer, or am I going to get somebody else as my trainer? And she said, well, I would love to be your trainer if like you're comfortable with me. And like, even by the end of that conversation with her, I was like, yes, like you're who I want to work with, and since then, her and I feel like we at least text message every single day. We also have, I'm one of those people that don't have an iPhone. So like FaceTime and stuff like that is hard with me, because I just don't have that option. So we started doing the Marco Polo. I suggested the Marco Polo app, and she's like, that's brilliant. And so we communicate over that. So they're little quick videos and stuff. And I feel like there's never a time where I'm like, I don't feel supported. There was even like I was doing a workout and I told her, I said, I feel like I don't do squats right. And I explained to her, like, I actually danced ballet from when I was like 5 to, was I 14 when I think I finished. So it's drilled in my head, like that posture. So, with a squat, you have to stick your butt out. And I can't do that. Like my body's like, no, 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 So I said to her, I was like, I don't think I do this right. And so um, the next day she had sent me a video and it was her and she's like, okay, let me show you. And so she videoed herself doing a squat and she said, this is how you do it. Here's your form. Pay attention to this, pay attention to that. And it would have been within the first day, except for I tend to do my workout at night. And so you guys are already asleep by the time I'm doing my workout. And so, she was prompt. So even though it was the next day that I got the video, it was still quick, and so then the next time I had to do squats in my workout, I played her video again. I was like watching it and I'm like, okay, and then I just kind of like mimicked her a little bit. And so now I feel like I'm doing them right. I feel like I feel it all in the right places. I don't feel like I'm doing it wrong. And I even videoed myself and sent it back to her. And she said, yep, that looks good, but do this, do that, and so she gave me some suggestions and stuff. And so, yeah, and even with like getting a hold of both of you is very easy. There's not ever been a moment where I'm like, I don't feel like I know what I'm doing and I can't get a hold of them, because that's not the case. Like it's super easy to get the answers,
No, I love that. And it's so funny because I think a lot of people don't realize we're a team, because I'm generally just out there.
Yeah.
But it is funny because the amount of messages I told you she screenshot so many things because she gets so excited about the wins that our moms have, that she'll screenshot and send and just be like, this is Kim, this is Wendy, this is Louisa, whoever it is.
Yeah.
And just you saying that you already reached your goal, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And again, when I'm saying that, I told you this the last time, she didn't put your name on it. So I'm like, that was Kim, that you've already reached what you were trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And
And, I had told her originally too, where like, for me, it's not about the scale, right? It's not about what it says on the weight or on the scale and my weight and stuff, because I don't feel like I'm overweight. That's not why I started this. I started this because I wanted to be more toned. I wanted to look better for me, in my own like vision of myself, right? And so I told her, I said, even if I started out, I think I started out at like 141 pounds. And I said, even at that, like if I finish this, 16-week program and I'm still 141 pounds, but I've like visually look different and my clothes fit me different and I feel good about how I look, great. Like it doesn't matter. So my target weight was kind of, like I felt like, well, I have to put something in here, like it was like one of those where I'm like, I don't know, so like I'll just kind of put this in there. And so, when I hit it, I was like, okay, cool. But like, I still wanted to I still felt like I have work to do. Like, even though I hit my target weight, I'm not done yet, and I'm seeing improvements, but I'm not where I want to be yet. And plus I'm only halfway through the program. So we have a lot more, a lot more to do. So, and I'm excited about it. Like I told Jenna the other day where I took a picture, like I did like a collage where I did the before and then the 4-week mark. And I was looking at it and I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I see a difference. I don't know. And my husband's like, you don't see that? And I'm like, no, I don't really. And he's like, no, seriously, like you don't see that? And I was like, well, maybe like right here. And he's like, oh my gosh, like, he's like, it's a total like noticeable difference. Like, how come you don't see that? And so then I like sent it to Jenna too. She's like, send it. So I sent it to her and she was like, oh my gosh. And and I sent it to one of my other friends who I'm actually going to try to get into the program, I think. But, and I said, can you just be honest and tell me what you think? And her response was like, WTF, like what, you've been doing this for 5 weeks. What do you mean? And I was like, you see a difference? And she's like, you don't? And I was like, kinda, maybe, So again, like worst critic right here is worst critic. But still, like, yes, I hit my target weight. Yes, there is a noticeable difference, but like, I'm just excited and where I was going with that was I had told Jenna, I'm like, I'm ready. I'm excited for the 8-week mark. And I'm excited for those progress pictures, you know, like I'm excited to see those because I'm already seeing it. So I'm excited to see the next one, you know, so that's what helps.
No, for sure. Hold on, I can hear myself.
Good.
It's like watching your kids, you just don't see them grow.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, how did you not notice? You're like, nope, they look like the same way they did when they woke up yesterday morning. They look the exact same. They look the next day. And then, you know, it's so hard. And especially we are our toughest critics. And it is funny that you're talking, because that's the other part that we really, really want moms to think about, because the negative ski tracks, that's how I kind of think of them in your brain. Like you were explaining your story about those thoughts still come up of not feeling enough and having those negative thoughts, because when you hear something exactly like you said long enough, or you feel something long enough, those are really deep grooves. And it's easy to, even when you're feeling better, to kind of slip and fall into it. But the goal is to, and for me, and I am the first to say, weight loss or changing your body composition as a byproduct, it's not necessarily the focus for everything that you're saying, because there is, I mean, I'm still working. I have a coach. I'm still working on, you know, feeling even better. And I still have down days, and we're all human. But it's exciting to know like there's something else out there, and it's not necessarily, like you said, a scale. It's, for some it is, because that's where health is really important, right? Some people definitely need to lose weight for health reasons, but it's so exciting to know that there's something else. And that's what I want all moms to understand, is it's not just the focal point of, you know, weight loss, but it's health, and it's just living and laughing. Like you saying that you're laughing more. I mean, what is better than that?
Yeah. 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 And I think the other thing I like too is that, you know, even though there's this, you know, distance between us, like I feel like just with the amount of time and as number of times as I've had a conversation with Jenna, is that like, I'm actually like, oh, I can like joke with her and I can laugh with her. Like, you know, like she had said initially that ultimately we kind of start to become friends at the end of this. You build friendships with, you know, these women and stuff. And I think that's fantastic, you know, and it's funny because like she posted something on Facebook on her own Facebook about like it being Monday. And so there was the squat bar with like a crazy amount of weight on it. And so I sent her a message. And I was like, do you squat this? And she's just like, maybe, like, he. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to complain about goblet squats with a 15-pound weight anymore, because that's ridiculous, you know, but like, just that kind of like, you know, we have that kind of just freedom, I guess, to just joke with each other and banter back and forth and stuff. And I think that just adds to the experience that anybody, I think, would hope that it adds to the experience that anybody would get with this program, just because, you know, there's accountability, right? Like I have Jenna who's like, hey, you missed your workout. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it tomorrow, you know, and, but there's that accountability, but there's also that, like, that camaraderie and like to be able to like joke and laugh and stuff like that. So yes, this is an online program, and yes, you guys are that distance away, but it doesn't feel that way to me, I guess, you know, like just because of the frequency and being able to like be comfortable enough to like pick fun at myself, or, you know, like whatever, you know, and the comments of the workouts, I'm always like, well, this sucks. Or, you know, like I think I told her the other day, in one of my comments, I said, if I don't have a nice looking butt at the end of this, I guess I was never meant to have one, you know, because it was, you know, a glute and a thigh day, you know, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this, like, my butt hurts right now, you know, so, but that's good. That's what it's supposed to be doing. So, but just being able to be comfortable to like have that joking back and forth and stuff. So.
Well, it's funny. We actually put, when we do things on Facebook, like, who's it not for? And it's like, if you don't like to have fun, because I mean, it's exercise, it's our life. And of course there are serious moments, but it shouldn't be this, you know, uber for us. I'm not uber into making it uber serious. And even our gym, we hashtag make fitness fun again. It's exercising, it's health. We want people to want to do it, not be something you dread, like, oh God, gotta go do this. So I'm glad that you're getting that. And again, it takes us the first little bit to kind of get people's personalities. Some people are more dry. So it takes us a little bit, but once we feel like we've weaseled in, and like, I don't talk to you as much as Jenna. I hear all the updates. I hear everything that's going on. So I feel like I'm in constant contact, at least with you. Like, how's Kim? She'll give me the full rundown. So it's the same for us. Like, just like we were talking about before record went on, you guys are people first. And we really take it very seriously to know, like, we don't work with people that we don't like, to be honest. There's people who have started our program that we've stopped and said, you know what, I don't think this is a good fit, because from our end wasn't a good fit. Yeah. And if it's not from ours, it can't be from theirs either. And so it's awesome for us to get, we get excited about our moms. And I know it's just awesome. I have one more question and then we'll wrap it up. But what would you say to someone who's on the fence? Because we have a lot of moms on the fence right now. I know it's a crazy time in the world. But what would you say to moms on the fence as your experience going through with us?
Yeah, I think initially I was even a little bit on the fence, because I said I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw your advertisement with the 5-day detox, and I had actually seen it a couple days in a row. And I was like, at first I was like, oh, I don't know. And then I, looked into it and stuff. And I think what I would say to someone on the fence is, just give it a try. Like, if you're at all wanting to change anything or try something to make yourself better, like, give this a try, because you never know what you're going to find, really. Like, I feel like I found something that is working for me. Is it going to work for everybody? No, but that's okay. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to work for everyone. It's going to work for the people, I guess, that need it to work for them, if that makes any sense. But you're never going to know if you don't try. And I think that's where people sometimes get in their own way, where they, come up with reasons why it won't work or why they can't do it or whatever. But just with the experience that I've had with you guys so far, and again, I'm not even halfway through the program. I'm close, but I'm so glad that I did do this. And I mentioned one of my friends who I'm actually gonna connect her with, Jenna, but I just see her and I'm like, oh, you'd be perfect for this. This program would be perfect for you. And I've even just been like, oh, let me show you this like food log, and oh, let me show you the hand method. And I'm just kind of like slowly like showing her some things, and like I'm kind of like slowly reeling her in. But I think just to somebody who's on the fence is just like, give it a try, because it's not what it appears to be. Like, yes, it's an online program, but the support is there. And it's tailored to you. Like, I had back injury when I first started this, and Jenna was very aware of that. And so it was constant, how's your back? How's your back? How's your back? If this hurts your back, don't do it, do this instead. And so, it was tailored to me. And I think that's also one of the things where this isn't a one size fits all kind of thing. It's tailored to me. And so, yeah, if you are worried about this particular part of you, don't worry, let them know, and they're gonna, help you through it and stuff. So, yeah, I'm kind of one of those people where, like, if you don't try it, you'll never know. So give it a try.
It's, thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to press get off record here, but I will say before I get off, your meal prep was the talk of everybody forever, because your back was hurt. And I remember how frustrated you were because you couldn't really do what you wanted to, especially because you're an active person already. Again, Jenna, we would talk about it back and forth, and, I would hear that you were frustrated, and it wasn't, it was getting better, but it wasn't there. And backs are no joke. That affects everything. It's not like we can say, okay, we'll just take upper body away, we'll do lower body. It's connected to all. So your meal prep, and that's what I said to Jenna, I'm like, listen, there might be something that always comes up, and injuries are going to come up here and there, and you could step off a curb wrong. You could, there could be injuries at any point. And if you stop, then you're going to stop your progress. So we really look at what can she do? I'm like, and so she sent your meal prep pictures, and everyone was just like, oh God, I need to up my game. Big time.
was a really good meal too, by the way. It was really tasty. So yeah. So I just was like, oh, I'm going to show this, and it became a lot bigger than I realized. I just thought I was going to just share it with Jenna, but then it turned into something else. So, but yeah.
No, we were all like, okay, so we all need to up our game. It was just so pretty. But thank you so much for hopping on.